Joe! Joe の野郎。鬼姫が完全にぶっ潰しやがって。
Oh my god. Hello everyone, welcome to Joe Consumes Cinema. I'm your host, The Dream of a Simple Life, and today we have Ashita no Joe, episode 70. So really like, the last episode, it's not a story that's going to affect anything, I don't think, going forward, but it was a nice little self-contained story. I really liked it, I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm thinking we're probably going to reunite with the underground boxing troupe this episode, and I'm hoping that, this is going to be the end of it, relatively soon. Joe, I think, is finally at a point where he can again fight the way he needs to. Like, when he fought Inaba, he hit him really hard to the head with that uppercut, and he had this little moment where he kind of self-reflected, and he was just kind of stunned. Like, Inaba was good enough to bring out, Joe's true intent in a fight. Like, he had to go all out to beat the guy. And that was just a great moment because, it forced Joe to fight to his maximum, and after he landed that shot, he didn't even realize it. He was just in the fight. And I think that's exactly what he needs right now. I think we're very, very close to the end of this storyline, and then we're going to get, reunion with Dangpei and Nishi, and then hopefully Joe's return and, really, really, try to pursue this boxing thing. Now that Joe has passed his mental hang-up with Rikishi's death, I think this is totally in the cards. And yeah, this will probably segue nicely into Season 2, I think. We only have, with 10 episodes left, so I'm thinking, we're probably going to get a little bit of Carlos and what he's up to, and then, yeah, hopefully wrap up this whole storyline with the underground boxing thing, and then just get back to it. And yeah, I'm very eager to get to it, so let's just get right to it. Sando Bagni Kao Megake Tatake 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 明日はきっと明日はどっちだ
ほら、どこだ言うな、脱げたらダメだろ。
Oh shit.
まったくどいつもこいつもだらしがねえ。なあみんな、たまにはジョーみてえにミリキのある張り切ったリンゴを見せてくれるやつはいねえのかい。これ以上ぶん殴られるのはたくさんだ。ほら見てくれよ、この俺たちの面を。ジョーがいねえときはもっとみんなマシだったぜ。
I think I was right. I think this is coming to an end.
ジョーはいつまでもこんなところで俺たちガラクタを相手にしてちゃいけねえんだよ。奴にふさわしいすげえ相手が現れなくちゃいけねえんだ。
Yeah, he needs a real challenge. Speaking of a real rival, here's Carlos. The guy I'm worried about. Quick reminder to like, comment, share, subscribe. Also consider signing up for my Patreon. For $1 per month, you get access to all my exclusive reactions, also a guaranteed movie request. With that, let's get right back to the reaction.
仙台スポーツセンター。矢吹城が土佐回りの一座と興行している場所の目と鼻の先です。
That was done purposefully. Wanted Joe to be near it. So she's kept tabs on Joe, where he is at any given time.
最後の目的は目を覚ました矢吹と戦うのがあなただということを忘れないでほしいの。
矢吹、すべて矢吹、メスヨコ、一体矢吹が何だというのですか？
私にもわからないわ。
おう。
They're at Namada Bridge.
スラムだ。日本のスラム街だ。そう。なぜ私をここへ連れてきたんだ？え？
君はスラムが嫌いだったね。そしてここはジョー・ヤブキのふるさとでもあるんだ。
ジョー・ヤブキの。Hey, what's your name? Huh?
よう、あんたら一体この町に何の用だい？
実は丹下段平さんに会いたいのですが。
段平おっちゃん？まあ気持ちだけでいいんだよ。俺たちも忙しいんでね。すまねえな。いえ、5000円だよ。
どうしました？少なすぎますか？
Now, hopefully Dangpei is doing okay and he didn't just, start drinking again in Joe's absence. Oh, God.
この目はなんでジョーじゃなかったのか。野獣の目か。もたてや奴のあの目がいけなかったんだ。奴の目に折れて こいつはものになると思ったのがいけなかったんだ。奴みたいな目は戦うことに取りつかれちまったら最後チャンピオンになるかリングでのたれ死んじまうか、そのどっちかしかねえ目だったんだい。かわいそうなことしたよ。わしと出会ったばっかりに。
だってジョーが言ってたもん、強くなったらきっと帰るって。枕。
OK。
だってよ、酔っ払ったおっちゃん運ぶのまで手伝ってもらったんだもん。悪いや。
No, いりません。取っておきなさい。
あんなにみんなから愛されているのに旅に出るなんて。
カーロス、それは君が一番よく知っているはずじゃないか。ジョー・ヤブキもおそらくこの小さなオンボロ小屋の中で血と汗を絞り多くの困難と戦いながら、ひょっとすると彼こそ我々が探し求めていた本物のボクサーかもしれない。
ジョー・ヤブキ、もう一度会いたい。
Here it is.
南郷、俺が最後に毛を食らったやつだ。だがこの仙台で。ああ、ひでえや。仙台スポーツセンターといや目と鼻の先じゃねえか。しかも世界ランカーと日本の名弁だと来てやがる。
He's trying to run into him.
試合は明日なんですからね。関係者以外は入っちゃダメなんです。
いいじゃねえか、ちょっとくらい覗いたってよ。よう、南郷がしばらくだな。おっとっと。
あいつか。確か矢吹とか言ってよ。まあなんだ、俺の殺人パンチを食らってよ、土佐回りに身を持ち崩した二流ボクサーよ。
なんで
That's pathetic.
あの野郎。
Get Joe mad and he'll kill your ass.
二流ボクサーのパンチがどんなものか教えてやら。
Yep. Called it. Nope. Gonna kill all these guys. Nice. Good stuff. Keep moving. Oh shit.
やっぱりここに来ていたな、ジョー・ヤブキ。
誰だお前は。
カーロス・リベロ。
What the hell? Yep. This is awesome.
実は君に贈り物がしたいのだ。
贈り物？
明日南郷戦で見せる私の秘密兵器をね。
秘密兵器？
もし君が私の思っているような男だとしたら、その秘密兵器を見破れるはずだ。
世界バンタム級6位カーロス・リベラ。この旋律は一体なんだ。
Well, this is exactly what Joe needs. Oh yeah, books. Okay, it took some time just to gather my thoughts. Episode 70, really good episode. A ton has happened here. So things start off with Joe back at the underground boxing club. And, you know, he's very much at a point where it's very clear he's going to be moving on from this very soon. He is overall, like, actually a good influence on the troupe. Like, they're training harder than they usually do. Trying to, like, meet him because they're tired of just, you know, him beating them up over and over again. So he's actually somewhat of a positive force here, you know, pushing these guys. Honestly, I really wish this troupe would just, you know, give up the whole, you know, fixed fight thing and just try to form, like, an actual, like, legit club and, you know, push these guys because some of these guys might actually be able to come back. Now, it's not very likely, but if nothing else, you could get better fights from them if they were actually, you know, somewhat legitimate. So Yoko has kept tabs on Joe this entire time. She knows where he is right now and has, you know, fixed it so Carlos is about to go up against Nango, the number 2 at bantamweight, Joe's last opponent that he lost to. Knowing full well that, you know, Joe's there, he's naturally going to hear about this fight because, you know, posters all over the place, advertising everywhere. This is going to, you know, raise his curiosity. He's going to come to the fight to actually view it, if nothing else. But we get one even better because not only does Joe, you know, want to go watch the fight, but he shows up there early and he runs into Nango, who, you know, kind of just dismisses him like, oh, this is Yabuki Joe, some loser that I, you know, beat up and then he quit boxing. And then, of course, this pisses Joe off and then, you know, he goes out there and he just starts to beat the shit out of all, like, his entire entourage and Nango too. Nango is not a good fighter. Like, I don't care what his rank is. Joe easily would have won that fight, and, a couple of the others too. Just this mental hang-up, him trying to brag about beating Joe in that state is like if someone shot him mid-fight, and then he's like, oh, I have a KO victory over this guy. Like, it's just pathetic and weird. So Joe, getting really pissed off and, brawling with those guys, actually really cool. But Carlos shows up, very unexpected, but really, really cool. And he joins in, starts beating up, the rest of the entourage. So Carlos and his manager, Robert, are very curious why Yoko is so fixated on Joe. It's natural. It's not something you would normally see in boxing, to just be brought in from, all the way across the other side of the world to fight this one guy who isn't even a ranked boxer anymore. He's, in this underground boxing troupe. So they want to get more intel on this whole situation and try and figure out why she's obsessed with Joe. And they go to the Namada Bridge and visit Slumtown. And right away, Carlos is pissed off because he doesn't want to think about slums. I think he grew up in one, so he doesn't want to, come back to this place. He probably started fighting as a form of escape and doesn't want to be around this anymore. But it gives a real sense of Joe because they run into the kids, they run into Dangpei, and they start to slowly understand the man more and more over time. And unfortunately, Dangpei, I thought about it in the moment, like, hopefully he's not, just drowning his own, sorrow with booze over and over again. And that's unfortunately what he is doing. He's just become a drunk again. He's kind of cursing the day he ever looked into Joe's eyes and noticed, the wild animal that's there and, started to dream and, all that led to all of this. And, he just has regret. But they actually help him out. They pick him up off the ground, carry him back to the Dangpei Boxing Club and, just try and help him out a little bit. Give the kids some money for, showing them where he is. And once Carlos starts to become obsessed with Joe, he takes it upon himself to go wandering before the fight and hoping to run into Joe. He does, and that's how, the two meet up. So after their fight with, that entire entourage, it's getting dark, and they have one last conversation. And Carlos says something interesting. He has this secret weapon that he's going to use against Nango, and he wants to see if Joe can see through it. Now, have no idea what that could mean, could mean 1,000 different things. But the fact that Joe, for the first time, has felt fear being in another boxer's presence is huge. And honestly, I think it's a really good thing. Like, this whole premise that he needs to come back, and one of the things that he really needs to kind of jumpstart that whole process is to have a rival again on the level of like a Rikishi. Carlos seems to fit the bill. Now, we haven't seen him fight, but I don't think it's, meaningless hype. I think this guy is real. Yoko probably wouldn't have hired him otherwise. And also, could be really interesting. We don't know his style, anything like that. We know he's tough and he's very fast and agile too. But yeah, it looks like next episode we're going to get the fight between Nango and Carlos Favera. Nango did get knocked out, but I still think they're just going to have the fight anyway. And he's probably going to get brutally destroyed. No idea what this secret weapon is, but, I'll be on the lookout for it. Should be really interesting. And yeah, I'm probably going to get to that right now. So as always, thanks for watching and peace.